Julianne Ginter.
Tēnā koe. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, it's a great pleasure to speak on vote transport following the Associate Minister Simon Bridges, because I'd really like to address some of the specific points that he made. I think that the great tragedy of this vote transport is the incredible missed opportunity. The government is missing a huge opportunity. At a time when the world is undergoing a fundamental economic restructuring, which they, of course, don't even bother to try and analyze what the reasons for that might be. They just use it to justify whatever policy it is they would like to implement. We need to be investing in the smartest transport infrastructure that we possibly can, and that is infrastructure that will reduce costs to the household and costs to business. And what we have learned here in the House over the past few months through questions, oral questions to some of the ministers, and what we have seen even on TV1 on Saturday night is that this government did no analysis before they decided on their program of roads of national significance. In fact, in 2008, SKM, the consultants who are now working on the investigation of the project, did a report on strategic options, State Highway 1 north of Auckland to Wellsford. And what they determined in that study is very, very clear that the costs of a brand new alignment of a new 4-lane motorway vastly outweigh the benefits. And so the question, what's clear to me is that the National Party and opposition sat down and did some focus groups. And they said in these focus groups, what would you like to see us invest in? And they got back the answer, infrastructure. And so they came up with a little package of motorways which are going to look like they're doing something important. And so they're throwing most of our money now at 5 projects, $14 billion at 5 projects. So what I heard from Mr. Bridges just now is that this is well targeted and that they're unashamed to be investing in roads. But unfortunately, they're not even investing in roads. I mean, they can't even be said to be a government that is investing in roads, because what they are doing is spending 95% of the all-new money on infrastructure on roads, but 75% of all new money on infrastructure in vote transport is going on 5 projects, just 5. Now, how many vehicle trips travel on these routes that they're focusing on? Less than 3%. So you're spending 75% of the money on new infrastructure on 3% of your vehicle trips. How is that logical? How is that going to improve economic productivity? It's not going to affect 97% of vehicle trips in the entire country. And at a time when oil prices are rising, the government should be interested in the opportunity that they have through our increased understanding of how it is that transport infrastructure contributes to economic development, that actually this is the time to be investing more in rail and to be investing more in buses and trains and walking and cycling. Now, what happens when you invest money in buses and trains? Well, more people take buses and trains, so that's good. But then what also happens is fewer people are on the road. So the people on the road find it easier to get where they need to go. So that's, you've killed 2 birds with 1 stone there. I know. I've got all the figures right here. I've even got the Treasury's advice on the national government's policy statement on transport funding, which is the Treasury would prefer to see economic evidence that GPS 2009 has been a success before we continue along this line. So even the Treasury has significant doubts about the government's infrastructure program. But all we will continue to hear, I'm sure, from the national government is an empty mantra. They think that if they say it enough times, it will be true. And unfortunately, it won't. And what they have missed is an opportunity to invest in transport infrastructure that would actually make our roads safer, that would actually reduce transport costs, that would actually address congestion issues at peak hour in our towns and cities, and they're missing that opportunity, which would even save us money at a time when they're worried so much about debt. You would think they'd be interested in saving money. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Phil Twyford.
This will be good.
Mr. Chairman,